for those of you who, again, I guess I'd have to say that the other great social experiment is the experiment of communism. Now, I know that those of you did level 2, we did Russia, I think, for the first time as a school last year. I was really interested in them doing that because conceptually, I actually think studying Russia, even though communism as a theory fails, I believe it's really important that people need to be aware of what this experiment was all about. And that was the reason that you studied the Russian Revolution last year as a topic. Right? It's very interesting because it's someone who's got a much greater than the prohibition idea, a much greater idea about the nature of how humans get on with each other. It's Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels who are writing the theory of communism. They're saying, well, basically, there should be an equality of opportunity between all people in the world. So theoretically, it's quite a nice notion. And they then say, okay, in order to do that, societies go through different phases and so on, and you get the establishment of Russian Revolution, and then you get Lenin who dies, and Stalin who takes over after a bit of a power struggle with Trotsky. All right? So what we're looking at here is Joseph Stalin, the leader of Russia in the 1930s. Because this proposition says if we accept that there is a natural justice inherent in communism, is the version of communism that Joseph Stalin is practicing in the 1930s deviated from the original intention of communism? So what was the kind of original idea of, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels? What were they trying to achieve? How far did Joseph Stalin in the 1930s twist that vision into a different reality? Because it's indisputable that in the 1930s, Stalin felt it incumbent upon himself and his cronies to eliminate 10 million people in the name of his version of communism. So he killed more people, his own people, than the Nazis killed when they killed the Jews in the final solution during World War II. So here he's dealing to his own people because he's doing it in the name of communism. If you challenge my understanding of how communism should operate, if you think for yourself, because you think that you know better than me, you get wasted. And many others get sent to a whole string of concentration camps that are up in Siberia. They call it the Gulag. The Gulag Archipelago. Now an archipelago, geographically, means a group of islands. And the Gulag refers to a group of concentration camps in Siberia. Alright? And in Siberia, people got sent there, and they were the lucky ones. The unlucky ones got killed. And there's 10 million that get killed in the name of this great idea. Because what he was trying to do is realise that Russia in World War I was well behind technologically. And he had to bring Russia into the 20th century very quickly. So he devised a number of these 5-year plans to accelerate production, steel and machinery production and so on in the 1930s, to try and bring Russia up to speed. At the same time, he was saying he was pushing his version. I mean, he was a megalomaniac. He was an idiot, really. But the thing is that he could justify what he did because he said, well, what I'm doing is justified by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels saying everyone should be equal. See? And I guess that experiment, which Russia carried on through to about 1990, so it's not that long ago really, and then finally the experiment really collapsed. There's still people that cling on to it a little bit. Probably the best example would be North Korea. Alright? It's still an example of where communism is in operation. But in this case here, if I can just stop that